Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today's video is probably not what you were really expecting from me when you subscribe to this channel, and I'm only expecting about 8, maybe 9 of my subscribers to actually be interested in this. So I'm really not expecting big numbers for this video. However, I still want to film it because this is the most, and I do mean the most, excited I've ever been to film a video ever. I am just so looking forward to this. So as you might be able to tell by the title, I recently purchased 15 Florence Ceramics figurines. And if you don't know what Florence Ceramic figurines are, and you're a little curious as to why I purchased 15 of them, then I'm going to explain that in a little more detail. So Florence Ceramic figurines are figurines that were produced from the 1940s all the way through to the 1960s. And the majority of them were based off of designs from the mid-1800s and ladies' books that were produced during that time. So they have a real historic look to them. They were also made with a lot of detail. Another unique feature of Florence Ceramic figurines were their articulated hands, which gives them a very realistic, very delicate look that you don't get with figurines from more popular brands like Royal Doulton. The reason they're called Florence Ceramics is because the creator and the designer for the company was named Florence Ward. Sometimes you'll also see them referred to as Florence Ceramics of Pasadena, California, since that's where the factory was and where they were produced. Now, there's just something really special about these figurines. They really stand out to me in the way that they look. They make me smile and I just adore them. I discovered them about 3 years ago and have been collecting ever since, and I probably have 30 of them or thereabouts in my collection right now. So even though I purchase them quite frequently and on a regular basis since discovering them, purchasing 15 at once is definitely out of character for me. So the reason I purchased so many is because recently a major collector passed away, and the person managing her estate was left with over 700 figurines to try and sell and find homes for. A lot of the figurines were photographed in great detail and sold individually, 2 of which I ended up purchasing. So I now have a pink Mardi Gras in my collection, which is one of my dream figurines, and also a figurine called Lillian Russell, who is huge and beautiful and detailed and I love very, very much. Even after selling and listing a lot of the larger, more extravagant, and more expensive figurines separately, they were left with 500 figurines in the estate to still get rid of. So they ended up posting a whole bunch of photos of them on shelves and letting people pick out which ones they wanted for the price of shipping only. A lot of these figurines had slight damage that made them less valuable, but a lot of them still would have sold for between $50 and $150 if they were listed individually on eBay. So being able to purchase them for an average of $25 each was an absolute steal. So I ended up quite literally stocking up and purchasing 13 figurines from that particular sale. And then there were another 2 much larger figurines called Cleopatra and Mark Anthony that were listed separately that really caught my eye. So I ended up purchasing them as well for a total of 15 figurines. I've actually been in Pennsylvania for the week, so these came in while I was away, and my dad texted me a photo of what our front porch looked like, and it was kind of hilarious because, as you can see, there are some very large boxes behind me, and there are 6 of them in total, so a lot of them are out of frame. But these boxes are huge, and today I'm going to open them with you guys and show you all of the new additions to my figurine family. So it looks like there are 4 in here, and I think I'm just going to take these out and then open another one of the big boxes, and then we can open all of the little packages at once. So there are another 4 in here, and I can kind of see the colors through the bubble wrap, so I'm starting to guess which ones are which, because they all have names. Not like names I've given them, they have actual names carved into the bottom of them. So now we are officially into the opening phase. I've got 8 of them to go through, and then I'll open the other big boxes and pull out whatever is left. So this one looks like a palish blue color through the packaging. I don't know if you can tell. So I think this is going to be Cindy. That's my guess. And these were all wrapped professionally by the UPS store, so they're wrapped very, very nicely. I was wrong. It is not Cindy, it's Grace. Now, Grace was produced both with and without articulated hands, and this version doesn't have articulated hands. But I still loved her because she has the blonde hair and she has this beautiful kind of mintish aqua colored dress. I've owned Grace before, but I owned her in a yellow colorway and I ended up reselling her for a profit. So I was quite happy to add her back into my collection, and especially in such a lovely colorway. This one looks kind of purpley, so that would mean that it's either Camille or Annabelle, because I only purchased two in that purplish reddish color. I primarily collect ones whose dresses are white, pink, or an aquish blue color, like the Grace I just showed you, but I do have some red figurines stored in my bedroom, so I purchased these to add to that collection. And once again, I was wrong. This is not who I thought it was. This figurine is actually called Cecile. So she has quite a bit of lace lost to the shawl around her neck. Now, I didn't really know what condition these figurines were in. I only saw photos of them from a distance. And since the price was so good, and since the person managing the estate was already going to such an immense amount of work to ship them, I didn't feel like it was really my place to ask for a lot of additional photos. So the lace loss on this is kind of disappointing, but she's still a beautiful figurine regardless. Now on to the next, and this one looks pinkish through the packaging, so I think this is Susan. Oh, she's so pretty. So I was right, this is Susan, and she is very pretty. She's holding a little basket of flowers, and she's got articulated fingers, and they're all intact. And she's got little flowers in her hair, and her dress has movement to it, and it's just gorgeous. She also looks to be in mint condition, which I wasn't expecting, but is absolutely fantastic. I love the details on her dress, the little bands around her sleeves, and I really like the cut of her dress too. It's almost Grecian in the way that it drapes over the bodice, and I love how she's holding it up. I really like it when the figurines have movement to them, and this one definitely has that. And then at the back, her dress dips down and there's a little kind of molded bow that isn't painted, but it's beautiful. I'm gonna be honest, I don't love the back of her hairstyle. It kind of looks like a mullet to me, but from the front, I think she is just gorgeous. Like very, very pretty. Very, very happy with her too. And I actually bought her a little boyfriend named Victor, so maybe we'll come across him next. This one also looks pink, so I'm thinking that this is Victor. And it looks like I was right. It's definitely looking like a male figurine from here. So as I said, I was right, and this is Victor, and it's in the same colorway as Susan, so they should display together really, really nicely. And he is actually different than any of the other ones I've unboxed so far because in addition to being a boy, he has the more detailed eyes, which I will show to you. But instead of the eyes being completely painted in, his eyes have a pupil to them and are a little bit more detailed. He also has a tiny little chip to the back of his collar, but that's okay, that doesn't bother me too much. And I think he is going to make a perfect little mate for Mrs. Susan. Here you can see them displayed together, and I think they look really, really nice together. And he doesn't have articulated hands. His hands just kind of melt into the back of his cape, and his cape isn't really secured on. Like, I'm questioning the garment physics of that, but I do like him anyway. And now let's see what we open next. This one looks blue, and it looks like a different shade of blue than the aqua that most of the figurines I purchased were. So I'm betting that this is Lila. Now I don't know if I'm going to keep Lila or resell her because the color might end up being too different from the ones in my collection, but we shall see. So she is a very different color than most of the figurines I collect, so I'm really not sure if I'm going to keep her, but she is beautiful. She, again, has some lace damage around her collar, but she's carrying this parasol, which is in perfect condition. She also has all of her fingers intact. The way they created this lace was actually by using real cotton lace that they would dip in the ceramic compound, and then they would apply it to the figurines, and when they were fired, the cotton would disintegrate due to the heat. It would evaporate or like burn away or whatever the correct term is. And you'd just be left with the ceramic lace trim, which is just so pretty and delicate and is really one of the things that makes the figurine stand out to me. Then of course the lace is all dipped with or painted with a little bit of gold leaf, so it has a really pretty sparkle to it. And sometimes when the lace is damaged, the only way you can really tell that it's damaged is that there's a disruption in where the gold leaf is. So like on her back, it's actually missing some lace there. It's a very similar length to the rest of the lace trim. It's just missing the gold leaf, so you can tell. But I love her little parasol, and I love that all of her fingers are in shape, and I love her little bonnet, and actually, look at this. She's got little tiny baby corkscrew squirrels, which I just think are adorable. I've got a few figurines that have them, and I think they're lovely. So that is Lila. I should show you the back of her dress too, because it's quite pretty. It's got molded little ruffles into it. And she actually isn't incised on the bottom, but you can see the Florence ceramic stamp, and this one actually has the initials of the artist who painted her printed on it as well. Time for more figurines! So in here, I have another one that looks bluish, but it looks like it's that aqua color that I try to collect since it matches my sewing room. So I'm thinking that this is going to be Cindy or Margot. So I was right, it is Cindy, and she is absolutely gorgeous. She's one of the more juvenile looking figurines, which historically I haven't collected. But I saw her, and I saw her in the color that I collect, and I just thought she was too perfect to pass out. So she looks to be in perfect condition. She has all of her little articulated fingers intact, and they're actually painted with pink nail polish, which is just the cutest. And then her dress has these really interesting kind of fluted molded details in it that give it some texture, and it's just really pretty. Then her neckline is decorated with gold leaf, so it goes around the back and around the front, and then she has it on the cuffs of her sleeves too. So she is adorable, and I love this color so much. This is the color of the majority of my collection, in addition to pink, just because it matches my sewing room, and it's probably one of my favorite colors. I just really gravitate towards it. So there are a couple other figurines in here that should match her quite nicely. So I think I'm actually going to open up another one of the boxes and try and pull out another 4 or so figurines, and then we will have more to unbox in just a moment. Now we have changed perspectives a little bit. Hopefully this will actually show more of the unboxing slash unbubble wrapping process. So I did go ahead and open 2 more boxes. I actually opened 3, but one of them I'm saving for later because it has one of the bigger, fancier figurines in it. So I opened 2 more boxes and pulled out all of the little beauties inside. So now I have another 7 things to unwrap, maybe even 8 things to unwrap, because I counted and there was 1 extra. So I'm not sure what that extra is, but we will find out. I think this is Martin. It looks faintly pink through the packaging, and also seems taller, and Martin is the tallest figurine that I purchased, if I recall correctly. It's not Martin, it's one of my dream figurines. Okay, I completely forgot that I ordered her, and now I am so excited. Oh my god, she is so pretty. Okay, I've decided I like the old view better because you couldn't see my sheer and complete and utter excitement over getting this figurine as I unboxed it, because I totally forgot that I bought her, and she is by far my favorite. So this is Lady Diana, and Lady Diana has been on my wish list since the very beginning of when I started collecting, and you just don't see her come up very often. The reason I love her so much is because she's wearing kind of more of an 1880s style dress or 1870s, whereas a lot of the other ones are wearing fuller skirts that look like they're out of the 1850s or 60s. So she's a little bit different in terms of her design, and she also has incredible details to her. So she's got all of these little tiny applied flowers on her skirt, and then she's got a beautiful lace collar which is completely intact. Her dress is just stunning. I love it so much, and there are these like open portions that would have had to be applied after she was taken out of the mold, and she's just so pretty. I love her so much. And the reason I think she was included in part of the sale is because she's missing 2 fingers. So she's missing her pinky finger, and then she's missing her pointer finger. But that doesn't bother me at all, not when the figurine itself is so pretty. I can overlook a couple missing fingers. I'm probably going to be missing fingers by the time I'm 80 years old, knowing how clumsy I am. So how could I possibly hold that against a ceramic figurine? I can't. I'm so pleased with her, and I can't wait to put her away and to find a little home for her. So now I think this is Martin because it appears quite tall and skinny, which makes sense given the shape of a man as opposed to a very full 1850s inspired dress. And if I recall correctly, Martin was missing a little bit of paint on his shoes, but was in otherwise perfect condition. And it's actually, I think, kind of interesting, but the black glaze that they used to use was a lot more prone to chipping than any of the other colors. Apparently black was just really difficult to do well, so that's often where you'll find little nicks in the finish on the male figurines, is with the black collars and the black shoes, and you don't really see those on the females because they didn't really use black in the designs. So Martin is definitely probably the figurine in the worst condition out of the ones we've encountered so far. He has little chips to his shoes, which don't bother me, but he also actually has a repair I don't know if you'll be able to see, but there's a crack right there, and it goes through his cane, and then underneath too there's a little chip. So this leg is actually completely come off and then being glued back on. But you really can't tell when displaying him from a distance, so that doesn't bother me too much. It just means he's like technically in the worst condition. His fingers are all there, his cane is still mostly intact, and he doesn't have any damage to his handsome face, which is nice. So I really like this figurine, though definitely not as much as Diana. I think you will be a good pairing for Diana. Don't they make a handsome couple? I think they do. I think they're going to be very happy together. So next up is another one that looks aquish, tealish blue through the packaging. So I'm thinking that this is Sherry, which should be the same size as Cindy and should be the same color as Cindy. So hopefully they will look nice displayed together. So I was wrong, it is not Sherry, it is actually a figurine named Margot. And it's very difficult for me to call her Margot because this is actually a sister figurine made out of the same mold as another figurine called Claudia, who is a lot more common. So sometimes with Florence Ceramics they would have multiple figurines that were made out of the same mold, but they had different applied details and different names. So for example, I showed you Cecile earlier, and I actually have a figurine made out of the same mold that's called Barbara because she has different detailing on her. Margot has a very pretty dress on with these kind of like pin-tucked tiered details on the side, and then she's got the pretty face and the bonnet, and here you can really see some of that gold detailing that Florence Ceramic figurines are known for, just how pretty the designs are. And then there's some on the back of her dress too. She's got little lace ruffles around the cups of her sleeves, and they are perfectly intact. Now this one also looks aquish in color, so she must be Sherry. So this is Sherry, and Sherry is not in the best shape. She's got some glue residue on her which should come off, but she's also missing the tip of one finger, and she has a little chip in her pretty face, which is such a shame, but she is still quite cute. I love the color of her dress, and I love the details on her bodice with the little flowers, and of course the gold trimming. I also absolutely adore her hat slash bonnet, but my favorite thing about Sherry is just the movement that her skirt has to it. It really looks like it's flowing in the wind. I just think that's a really, really pretty detail. It reminds me of one of my other favorite figurines, whose name is Amber, and her dress has a lot of movement too. And I just think it's a really nice touch, and it really makes these figurines look like they're a little bit more alive than some of the other ones out there. So I think she is absolutely stunning, and I'm happy to add her to my collection. So we're officially on to the last of the aqua colored figurines, and this one I'm pretty sure is Elizabeth. And if it's not Elizabeth, then I'm going to be very sad, because Elizabeth was one of the figurines I was most looking forward to getting. Also, I completely forgot to mention this, but Sherry had a price sticker on the bottom that said she would cost $375. So even though she has a little bit of damage, I think I ended up getting a good deal for her, paying closer to $25. So this is Elizabeth, and Elizabeth is supposed to be sitting on a couch, as you can tell by the way her dress is sculpted, but there's no couch here. So I'm thinking that that is what's in the extra package that I was confused about. So I'm going to open that up as well, and hopefully when combined we will have a full Elizabeth figurine. Okay, so here we have the couch that Elizabeth is supposed to sit on. It is a light gray color, and then actually has gold little dots to form buttons in between all of the tufting. It's very, very cute. So this is actually a rare version of Elizabeth. Elizabeth is in general a very common figurine that you can find for probably under $50 very consistently in a whole lot of different colors. But what makes this version of Elizabeth special is that she's wearing a different dress, and her hair and hat are different. So instead of wearing a proper bonnet, she has little flowers in her hair, and she has all these little corkscrew curls that are just adorable. And then her dress is much simpler, and it's trimmed with flowers around the neckline and the cuffs, and then there's a little peekaboo of lace underneath the skirt. This is probably my second favorite that I purchased after Lady Diana. I love the blonde hair, I love the aqua color, and she just really stuck out to me as a beautiful, beautiful figurine who I'm very happy to add to my collection. I'm like drowning in bubble wrap over here. You should see the massive pile that I've accumulated. Feeling a little bad for the environment right now, but feeling very, very excited about all of the new figurines I have. So next up are Camille and Annabelle, and then we're going to get into the remaining two boxes, which each have a single figurine in them. So I know that these are Annabelle and Camille, just based off the color. Those are the only two figurines I purchased in this reddish tone. So this is Camille, and Camille is another one of those figurines that is pretty common. However, it's very rare to find her where her shawl is completely intact, because the shawl is made entirely out of mesh or lace, depending on how you want to look at it. This is also a very rare version of her because she has the more detailed eyes, and she also has hands. So this is a figurine that was made both with and without articulated fingers, and the version with articulated fingers is much more rare. So to get her in perfect condition is phenomenal. So those are the more detailed eyes. Instead of being completely filled in, they have the pupils, and you can see her beautiful hands, and she's holding a little dance card all ready to be whisked off her feet. And you can also probably tell that the shawl is made out of that mesh. So this would have been made out of cotton mesh that burned up when the figurine was fired. And it is completely intact. Oftentimes you'll get it with chips, sort of like the Cecile figurine that I showed you earlier. But she is in perfect shape and I'm very, very happy to have her. She's gonna look beautiful in my bedroom with all of my other red figurines. And now lastly, we have Annabelle. Wow, so this figurine is very shiny. One of the things I don't love about the royal red figurines is I find the glaze is really prone to dimming and kind of losing some of its sheen. And I'll show you a comparison with Camille because I definitely noticed that on her. But this one is like super shiny and the glaze is really nice. So you can probably see the difference in the glaze, just how much richer this figurine looks and how when the light hits it, this almost looks like it has chips in it. Like there are really bright white spots in it because it is so shiny, and this one is very dull by comparison. But that's okay, I still love her. However, this figurine is stunning. This might be my second favorite one. I was not expecting to love her as much as I do. But this is Annabelle, and Annabelle is another figurine that comes in two versions, except this one is both named Annabelle. There's one version where she's holding a basket of flowers, and that has a high-necked dress with little ruffles down the front, whereas this one is very different. It has one little ruffle here, and then it like merges into flowers outlining her neckline, and then she's got little flowers running down the waist too. It's so pretty, and she's got articulated fingers. She is missing one finger, which I knew, but doesn't bother me. And then she's holding a little dance card, and she is so shiny and pretty and just in fantastic shape, and I love her so much. So I've been saving what I think are going to be the best for last, and it's now time to open those boxes. As I said, I ordered Mark Anthony and Cleopatra, which are one of the pairing figurines that Florence Ceramics created. She did quite a few pairing figurines of famous historical figures, but the Cleopatra and Mark Anthony one looks very, very different and really stuck out to me. It was really one that I wanted to add to my collection, but you don't see them come up for sale very often. So this was kind of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I took it. So we're going to open those next. So these guys are double boxed, which you will sometimes see with figurines that are especially expensive. It basically means that even if this box gets crushed, it's not going to put any pressure on the figurine or on the packing materials because it's in a separate box inside of it. So you just want to suspend that second box with bubble wrap or something so it's not touching the edges or the outer walls of the outer box, which they've done with bubble wrap and packing supplies, as you can see there. This is the second one. They were shipped separately. So this looks like it's Mark Anthony, just based off the color. Mark Anthony is red, whereas Cleopatra is blue. When I was talking to the person managing this estate, she mentioned that these were really heavy and difficult to ship, and she was right. They are weighty figurines, or at least this one is. That is Mr. Mark Anthony, and I will show him in a little bit more detail. So this is Mark Anthony, and this is probably the most detailed Florence ceramic figurine I've ever seen. He has a little bit of paint missing to his, oh god, I'm forgetting the name of that thing, to the feathers on top of his helmet. But the sheen of the paint for this is just fantastic. It's like a copper glaze, and it's beautiful. He's got like detailed toes, it's hilarious. And then he's got more realistic painted eyes too. I think he is so handsome, and I love all of the movement in the cape. It's got a really glossy, nice finish, and there's pretty much no flaws to this. I don't see any chips or anything, except for that little bit of paint missing on the plume. But he is in great condition, and he's very handsome, and he's going to look wonderful on display in my bedroom. So she is absolutely stunning. This is by far the most detailed gold work I've ever seen on one of these figurines. Just look at that. Like, can you imagine painting that? That's insane. Once again, like, she even has little feet, and then the toenails are painted. She's in beautiful condition, and I love her eyeshadow. I think it's stunning, and I love the red lips. And even her eyebrows. I just think she's really pretty. And then her dress is super interesting as well. So yeah, I think we saved the best for last. These are so elaborate and so pretty. I'm definitely going to include some footage of what they look like displayed together because I don't think that footage really does it justice. I'm also going to show you how all the figurines look once I have them in their new homes. And I might also include a clip of what the space around me currently looks like because there's bubble wrap absolutely everywhere. But this was a really fun video to film. I enjoyed it a lot, and I hope some of you guys liked it too. It's nice sometimes talking about things I'm passionate about that aren't related to sewing, like antiques and vintage ceramic figurines. I know it's not going to be for everyone, but hopefully at least some of you enjoyed this. If you did, giving this video a like and a comment really helps me out. I think as far as comments go, I'd love to know what you guys collect and what you're really passionate and enthusiastic about, even if it's something kind of strange that might not relate to a lot of other people. And if you'd like to see more of my videos, which aren't like this at all, then please subscribe, because I have lots of ideas and lots of stuff filmed and lots of stuff coming soon. So thanks so much for watching, and I will talk to all of you guys very soon.